Hello students, I welcome you all to Current Affair lectures by AZAD ICS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the current affair topics of 6th December 2024. So before we go ahead for 6th December 2024, let us discuss the questions that we had seen yesterday, right? The first question was regarding which of the following is the best describes the significance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Nigeria in context to India's strategic focus on West Africa. See, we have discussed a lot things about agriculture. We have discussed about other things like renewable resources. The major important thing that India was trying to do is, you have seen that there was the entire paragraph regarding China itself. So this is something that we want to, strengthen. We want to strengthen our defense ties and counter China's growing influence with Africa. And here, yesterday's article, we've also seen that Nigeria is also interested in Indian arms, etc., and all of that. So it is going to strengthen the defense ties and also counter China's growing influence in Africa. So this is the first answer. And the second answer is, what are the major criticisms for cash transfer schemes like those in Maharashtra and Jharkhand is that they do not solve the power of, they do not solve issues like poor health and education. So you need to understand that yesterday's class we were discussing that this particular direct benefit transfer is only going to give some money to the people, but not going to, focus on the long-term investment or long-term infrastructure, right? So that is the major criticism that we have seen in yesterday's lecture, right? So you need to be very mindful with these questions. These are the different types of questions that come in your prelims. Also, you will get statement-based questions as well. Over a period of time, we'll make sure that I increase the level of the question so that you're aware of what kind of questions will come in your prelims. Now we are going to see three important articles in today's lecture. One is related to similar to what we have seen in yesterday's lecture. That is how Narendra Modi ji has visited three different countries and what are its significance. That is one thing that we're going to understand. And also in the International Court of Justice, India is blaming the different countries for climate change. Another important thing that we're going to see is about the 16th Finance Commission. So let us start with the articles. The first article that we need to understand here is the states and the challenges before the Fifth Finance Commission. So we have to understand that there are some issues that are there. Okay. In this article, we'll be discussing what is the role of the 16th Finance Commission in addressing the fiscal challenges. Whatever issues that we have related to finance, how is this addressed? And how is the resources distributed between the Indian Union and the state. So we will understand how the resources are given to the center and how are they given to the state. See, we will discuss about more about this in your economic classes. If you've done your economic classes, you will understand that some amount of the tax that is collected is with the center, some amount of that is given to the states as well, right? So all of that issues, the resources, that how much resources will be with the center, how much resources will go to the state, all of that will be discussed in this particular article. Okay, so we'll also discuss what is the meaning of the Finance Commission. We'll also discuss what are the key highlights of the 16th Finance Commission, and we'll go in detail with this particular article. The first important thing that we need to understand here is about the overview. So constitute date and the leadership. It was constituted on 31st December 2023, the 16th Finance Commission, and it was chaired by Dr. Arvind P. and the former vice chairman of Niti Aayog. So this is some of the facts. This may not be important for you, but we have to understand this, that this is important mains topic, and that is the reason I've chosen this particular editorial. We'll discuss what is there in the editorial. I'm not reading the editorial, but highlighting the important topics. What is the mandated task with recommending how? So what is it exactly, or what is the major issue, or what are we addressing here? We are addressing the recommendations on how the tax revenue should be shared between the center and the state. See, whatever amount that you're getting is not just utilized by the center. It is given to the state also for the state development. So however, whatever resources you're getting, how are we going to distribute, that is going to be or is mentioned in this particular Finance Commission of 16th Finance Commission. Okay, its recommendation will influence India's fiscal policy over 5 years term starting from 1st April 2026 and shape the nation's long-term economic trajectory. So whatever is there, this is not for now. Its recommendations will influence India's fiscal policy. Right now, the fiscal policy will not be influenced, but whatever 16th Finance Commission's fiscal policies or whatever resource sharing is there, that is going to influence India's fiscal policy over 5-year term. So you need to understand it starts from 1st April 2026. Or it's not going to talk about now, it's going to talk about later from April 1st, 2026 onwards, how the nation's economic trajectory is going to be shaped. So this is some important details. Now we have to also understand the global, what is the need, or why are we, discussing this. So we need to understand what is economy of global, or how global economic shifts are happening, and what are the opportunities that India has. So first thing that we need to understand here is that economic trends. The Commission must navigate global economic trends like friendshoring and reshoring, which are reshaping international trade and investment. So now let us understand what is the meaning of friendshoring and what is the meaning of reshoring. So there are some kind of economic shifts that are happening in the global level. And because of that, we also need to do some kind of changes in our policies as well. So what is this friendshoring? Okay, friendshoring basically refers to the practice of relocating a company's production or resources to countries considering them to be the political allies. Prioritizing shared values and geographical stability over just cost efficiency. While reshoring means bringing the production back to the company's home country. Okay, essentially revising the previous offshore decision of a foreign allocation. So don't worry, I'll discuss about this. In friendshoring, what we're trying to do here is we are prioritizing the political alignment and trust over cost. So here, what we're trying to do is we are trying to, relocate the company's production, okay, to the countries that consider to be a close political ally. For example, there's one country, there's one more country, and if they have a very close political allies, then what we try to do here is we're trying to relocate that kind of company's production, okay, to that country which is very close political ally to us. Okay, and we are trying to reduce reliance on countries with potential geopolitical risk. So, for example, if you know that any country has a geopolitical risk, for example, India has some issues with some XYZ country, right? Or it could be Pakistan or it could be China. We will try to reduce the reliance on such countries. Okay, because we will try to relocate all our resources to such companies or such countries which are having a very good political allies. Okay, and example, you can see that the US company moving production to Canada instead of China due to shared values. So as you see that what they're trying to do is whatever investment they have in China, they're trying to move it to Canada because they have a good relations here. Or maybe they're having a good political close allies here, right? So that is friendshoring. So that is nothing but you would like to choose your friend instead of your enemy. So friendshoring is nothing but I am going to remove all my company's productions or resources that are there in the countries which I don't like, or maybe I have some issues geopolitically. I will remove it from there and I will do all the resourcing to the allies which are very close to me. Right? For example, you would not like to spend time with somebody whom you don't like, right? You like to spend time with somebody whom you like. Similarly, here also the US company is trying to, move all the productions to Canada instead of China. Similarly, what is reshoring? Bringing production back to the company's home country may be driven by the factors like labor cost, logistics, or concerning about the quality. Similarly, here you can see US companies moving manufacturing operations from China back to USA. So reshoring is nothing but reshoring means coming back. So for example, whatever my country resources are there in some other country, I will try to bring it back to my own country itself. So that is reshoring and friendshoring. So these are some of the new economic trends. I hope reshoring is clear. That is nothing but you can't go and stay in somebody else's house for a longer period of time. Similarly, what we try to do is whatever production that we are doing in some other country, we'll try to bring it back to the home country, right? And why are we trying to do this? So that maybe because the labor cost, maybe the labor cost is higher in the other country, maybe the logistic problem is there, or maybe there are some quality control issues. So maybe because of all these issues, I do not want to continue it in that particular country, and maybe I want to bring it back to my own country. So that is something that we have to understand here. This is friendshoring and reshoring. This is the trend that is happening in the global economy. So because of this, we also need to do some restructuring in our economic policies or fiscal policies as well. Okay. Apart from this, what are the opportunities that we have? These trends offer India a chance to, increase their economic prospects by attracting more trade and investment. The Commission challenges lies in balancing equitable resources distribution while supporting growth of high performing states like Tamil Nadu. So here we need to understand a word called progressive state. The states which are very good healthcare wise or social welfare wise or infrastructure wise, such kind of states are called as progressive states. And states like Tamil Nadu are performing very well. So what we can do here is there is an opportunity that lies here. Maybe we could have some friendshoring as well. Maybe some countries which are, allocating their production maybe in our country because we have very good states like Tamil Nadu. So this is an opportunity here that we can see. If we have balanced and equitable resource sharing, then we can also support such kind of states is what it's trying to mention here, right? Apart from this, we have to understand what are the issues that we have, challenges that we have when it comes to resource distribution. So we'll understand about a little history here, and we'll also see what has happened in the 15th Finance Commission, that is the recent issue. Since the inception of the first Finance Commission, there have been consistent efforts to equitable distribution resources among the state. However, gaps remain between the financial goals or commission goals and actual outcomes. How much ever we want to do the distribution, but there will be some kind of the gap. How much ever you try to do be friendly with your parents, there will be some or the other generation gap. Similarly, there are some gaps when it comes to history, but we also have to see what is the recent issues. The 15th Finance Commission allocated 41% of the divisible pool to states, but only 33.16 was efficiently deployed. Means whatever we are trying to do, see, 41% was allocated, but only 33.16% was effectively used. Right? This shortfall is due to central government's increasing reliance on the cess and surcharge, which is not shared with the state. So you can see that the central government is not having a proper equitable distribution of the taxes. Okay, and it is relying on the cess and the surcharge. Right? So these are some of the issues that we are coming across here. These issues are the reasons or the challenges that we are facing. Here you need to understand these words, cess and surcharge here. These are nothing but these are the tax. Basically, these are the tax that are levied by the government for different taxpayers. Okay, cess is a tax collected by the government to develop a specific sector. If you want to do some development in a specific sector, then we have cess. And surcharge is a tax on levied on income generated, but on the tax payable for that of income. Means it depends on how much is your income and etc. So it is a tax on the tax. Basically, surcharge is nothing but it is called tax on tax, leave it on the income generated, but on the tax payable for the income. Means how much ever your income is, depending on that you're going to pay tax on tax. So cess and surcharge are nothing but the tax that central government is leaving, and it is basically relying on it too much. And you can also see that a lot of revenue that has been generated or a lot of tax that is being collected by the central government is not shared with the states. So these are some of the issues or challenges that we are facing. Apart from this, we also need to understand that there is a increase in state sharing by incentivizing performance. So what are the recommendations that we are trying to get? So we have to understand that it suggests that the state should not, state should receive a large sharing of gross central tax, possibly around 50%. So it says that, how much ever tax has been collected, out of that, the 50% needs to be shared, that possibly around 50% needs to be shared so that there enhances the fiscal autonomy. This would allow the state to tailor and fund local development schemes more effectively. See, if we all know that we have three-tier structure, right? We have the central government, we have the state government, and we have the local government. So if the money is given from the center to the state will give it to the local government, and there will be a development of the local schemes. Whatever schemes are happening in the local level or in the local government level, that will be, done in a proper manner if the state is getting better, sharing of the tax. The current approach, the horizontal devolution policy, has limited success in the program promoting growth. So you can see that this particular thing that right now they are doing, the money is not shared and all the schemes are centrally manufactured or centrally produced. In that case, what's happening is the success is limited in this. So necessitating a more balanced strategy that enables both less development and high performing states to prosper. So means what will happen is all the high developing states will also be able to do better. Even the less developing states will also be able to at least come to a next level because they are getting limited amount of or enough amount of funds from the government. Now, specific challenges for progressive states. See, I already told you what is a progressive state. States like Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra face unique challenges because these states are very good in terms of healthcare, in terms of, infrastructure, etc. So they are facing issues such as aging pollution, population and rapid urbanization. For instance, you can see Tamil Nadu's aging demography reduces its ability to generate consumption-based tax revenue, while the cost for supporting the older population is increasing. So you can see that they're doing a lot good. But what's happening here is that the people who can work or who can get skilled are getting less day by day. So automatically people who are getting retired now, they will not be able to pay tax. So what is happening here is that, the amount of tax that they are going to get collected is going to reduce, right? While the cost for supporting such older population is going to increase, right? So you're going to give up some schemes, maybe pension schemes, etc., and all of that. And in that case, what is happening is you're getting the less tax, but you have to still improvise or you have to invest on their healthcare and other schemes, etc. So these are some of the specific challenges that progressive states are facing. So this is what is mentioned in the article. Now we have to understand what is the commission's bold role. So beyond fiscal arithmetic, the Commission is not only concerned about the fiscal distribution but also fostering a future where every state contributes to and benefits from the national progress. So see, whatever this finance commission is there, it's not just discussing about the fiscal distribution or how much tax is going to be there with the center, how much tax will be given to the states. It's not that. We need to understand that it should foster the future where all the states are able to do better and benefit the entire country. And impact areas will be its decision will significantly impact various sectors like including manufacture, urbanization, climate resilience, shaping India's position in the leading global economy. So you need to understand that whatever decisions this particular commission is going to do, it's not just for that particular state or particular country. It is going to decide what or it is going to have more impact on all the sectors. Like it could be manufacturing sector, it could be urbanization, it could be climate resilience, all these things. So this is something that we need to understand that commission is going to play a very, very important role in all these aspects, right? Apart from this, we'll see what are the current status of this particular commission, what are its future steps. The commission is currently in progress or in process of gathering information and consulting various stakeholders to inform this its recommendation. Means it is trying to get information from different stakeholders, like what states, or it could be manufacturing sectors or all the other state people or stakeholders, and it is going to check whether all the recommendations will be fulfilled or not. What are the considerations that it is going to do? It focuses on remains of fiscal stability, economic growth. So you need to understand what is it is basically focusing on economic growth, stability, ensuring equity among states, that equal share is there between the states. Additionally, this commission will determine principles of financial aid to states from India's consolidated fund and suggest measures to increase resources for local governments also. So what are the different measures that we can get local government? How are local government going to get more funds? Right? That is something that we need to understand in this case. So this particular, finance commission is basically focusing on these things. That is fiscal stability. How can we have financial stability in our country? How can we have economic growth? How can we make sure that the states are getting equal amount of money? Apart from this, it is also determining the financial aid to the states. Like from the Consolidated Fund of India, how much money is supposed to be given to different states. We will discuss about Consolidated Fund of India in polity basically, right? Even if you want to take 1 rupee from Consolidated Fund of India, you need to pass the money bill and you have to take, because all the tax that is being collected is kept in this particular, Consolidated Fund of India. So this is about the entire thing. Now we'll understand what is the meaning of a financial commission. So far, whatever I've discussed is mentioned in your editorial. Okay, the Hindu editorial of today. And now we will understand some basics or some background. The Finance Commission is nothing but it is a constitutional body. Okay, established under Article 280 of Indian Constitution. Its primary purpose is to define the financial relations between the center and the individual states. So basically we have Finance Commission. Finance Commission is a constitutional body. Okay, it is established under Article 280 of Indian Constitution. Basically what it tries to do here is it is going to tell us the financial relations between the center and the state. Okay, apart from this, it is also going to discuss, so what are the functions and the responsibilities of this particular, Finance Commission. We'll discuss that. Right. So first important thing is distribution of the tax revenues. So how much tax has been, is with the center or how much is with the state, that is basically, is one of the functions. Principal governing grant in aid. So all the grants that are being given to any kind of states, all that governing is done by the same finance commission. It enhances the fiscal relations. So what should be the center state relations, especially when it comes to economy, that is being done. And it also gives the advisory role. Advisory role means it will basically tell you what should be done for betterment of the economic development. It acts like a advisory as well. Apart from this, what does it composed of? The Finance Commission comprises of a chairman and four other members appointed by the President of India, and it constitutes every 5 years. So every 5 years we have this Finance Commission. The recent one is the 16th Finance Commission. The 16th Finance Commission is the latest one. So it sets up crucial role for India's financial policy developing in upcoming years. So here are some of the specific details. Like, it was constituted on 31st of December 2023. We have discussed about the chairman. The term is for 5 years. It starting from 1st April 2026. So what is the purpose and objective? So what is the revenue sharing, fiscal stability and growth are some of the important objectives. So as I already told you, so far what we have discussed is nothing but how are we supposed to, or how are we trying to, share the revenue between the center and the state. And fiscal stability and growth, how are we trying to make sure that there is growth? So this is something that we are going to see. Important tasks that we have. See, financial aid principle. So determines the principle for providing financial aid to the states from India's Consolidated Fund of India. So how much financial aid are we providing to the states from Consolidated Fund of India? This is the important task. Another important task is supporting local government. Two important things. First is financial aid principle. That means how much money are we giving to different states? And we're also discussing about supporting local government. What are the things that we can do? Resources that we can do, or share the resources from Consolidated Fund of India to, or support the local government, like including panchayats and municipalities. How much money we can give them? How can we, make them better? This is something that is being discussed in this particular 16th Finance Commission. Right. This is the end of the first article. The second important article that we are going to discuss here is a three-nation visit for, what has happened here is, as we have discussed in yesterday's editorial about Narendra Modi ji's visit to Nigeria, and we have discussed entirely in detail. But along with that, he has visited other two countries as well. Okay, so what are the other two countries? He has visited Nigeria, Brazil, and Guyana from November 16 to 21, 2024. Reflects India's strategic engagement with, you can see Africa, because he has visited Nigeria, Latin America, that is Brazil, and Guyana, that is your Caribbean island or Caribbean. This visit is basically, aiming the strength of bilateral ties. So what are the different bilateral ties, and how are we trying to, increase the cooperation in various sectors, like different sectors like energy, or it could be defense. In today's question also, we have discussed that why is or how is this visit very significant? Because we want to make sure that the diplomatic or defense ties are increasing, and we are influencing, West Africa in a better manner. And we also want to make sure that the ties are better, because China is already having that ties before, right? So this is something that is kind of continuation of the yesterday's editorial itself. Now you can see the first leg. What is it called, the first leg? Nigeria's visit is called the first leg. The significance is, as Africa's most populous nation with increasing global influence, Nigeria plays a pivotal role in India's engagement with this continent. I already told you that it is the largest economy and largest democracy of Africa, right? So what are the different collaborations that we have? So it is focusing on agriculture, renewable energy, digital transformation. 3 memorandums of understandings were signed, and both the countries reaffirmed their commitments against the terrorism and extremism. So whatever extreme conditions are there, terrorisms are there, we are against it, and we are trying to focus on agriculture, renewable resources, and digital transformation. As I've already discussed about yesterday, in how India is trying to also, make its influence, so that we can make, it's not like we are kind of competing with China or something like that, but we want to make sure that we are having some kind of better relations with Nigeria. And you've also seen that how Nigerian Prime Minister also have welcomed Indian Prime Minister, and how they have a good connection. And he has also been given award that was not given for anybody after, I think, Queen Elizabeth, right? So he was, our Prime Minister was the second person who received this award. So this is how the relations are. But what are the challenges that we have? We have some challenges like bureaucratic delays could impact the swift implementation of the agreement, necessity streamline processing of effective cooperation. So see, everywhere you need to understand that. I think few days back we were discussing about Pragati system. There also we saw that even when a lot of people are coming under one table, still there is issue with bureaucratic delays. Even in these cases, there could be some bureaucratic delays, and these are the significant challenges that we have. Second thing that we will discuss is about G20 summit in Brazil. Now, see, we can have a separate concept for G20, but here I will give you an overview of it, okay? Because this is completely a separate, topic that needs to be discussed, okay? Now, we need to understand what are the focus areas of this particular G20 summit that happened in the Brazil, and this is a centerpiece. So here it is basically, or the summit is basically centered on social inclusion. How can we include all the people, and how can we have a proper, what you mean to say, resource distribution with all the people. Social inclusion means we are not excluding anybody, irrespective of their caste, creed, etc. Right? And we are also focusing on sustainable development and global governance reforms. The key initiative is that the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty was launched, emphasizing financial mobilization and resource sharing. So majorly we are trying to, focus on hunger and poverty here. Okay. And we are also making sure how the finances can be given to different people, and knowledge sharing is also happening. What is the discussion? The discussion was basically on the sustainable development, climate finance, okay, and other topics were multilateral development, bank reform, and peaceful conflict resolution. How can we have a proper peaceful conflict resolution, right? Global South leadership, Brazil's leadership role in G20 complements India's efforts to represent Global South, highlighting commitment to global economic stability. So basically, Brazil is having a very good leadership in G20, and India is also making efforts to represent the Global South. Global South is some of the countries that belong to the southern part, okay, which highlights its commitment to global economic stability. So we are also trying to, highlight our commitments, that we are also doing very good, and we are also having to, we are also having a lot of commitments to have a global economic stability. The next thing that we have to understand is the last one, Guyana, the wrap up. The cooperative areas are here. We are trying to focus again on energy, defense, digital collaboration, education, and food. Now, strategic importance of Guyana's education, energy resources, and its strategic position with Caribbean community enhances its significance for India. Now, you must be understanding, or you must be having, what is this basically stands for. This stands for Caribbean community. Okay, it is an oldest surviving integration movement in the developing world. So, in the developing world, okay, this is the oldest surviving integration movement. So it is an organization of Caribbean countries, and dependency originally established in Caribbean community and common market. Okay, so what is the main purpose of this? So you can understand that nothing but these, it is an organization of different Caribbean countries. Okay, and here you need to understand the main purpose. It is to promote economic integration and cooperation among its members, to ensure that the benefits of integrated integration are equitably shared, to coordinate foreign policies. Okay, so it has got 15 members. We don't have to remember all the 15 members, just know what is it. It is like how we have different groupings like BRICS, etc. Similarly, we have a Caribbean community. And you need to understand Guyana is important here because Guyana's energy resources and its strategic position with Caribbean community. Because of this, it will play a very important significance role for India as well. Okay, and in this particular community, we have 15 members, and these 15 members belong to all the countries that are coming in geographical area related to Caribbean or Caribbean, basically, right? So the organization is for Caribbean countries. Okay, and 15 Caribbean countries are a part of it. Okay, so this is something that we need to understand over here. Now, next thing is significance of this visit. Why are we trying to visit? As I already mentioned about different things here. So here we are trying to strengthen in energy, agriculture, technology, and also address bureaucratical hurdles that we have. Similarly, here G20 summit is reinforcing its commitment to global issues such as sustainable development. And here we're again trying to work on energy, defense, food security, also emphasizing on resources that are present in Guyana and strategic location. It is going to help us in a proper cooperation. So these are some of the important significance. Lastly, we have to understand what are the challenges that we have. Okay, as I already mentioned you, when it comes to Nigeria, we have bureaucratic delays. Okay, and slowdown of cooperation, effective alignment of priorities and local context in necessary for effective implementation. Apart from this, we also have diplomatic engagement. Strengthening diplomatic engagement channels and fostering people to people ties will essentially solidify India's presence. And this is a way forward, you can see. Okay. Major important challenges that bureaucratic hurdle, and there could be a slowdown of cooperation. Maybe that we are not frequently meeting, we just met for one time and we just signed something and we are not working on it. This is like slowdown of cooperation. And that is something that is not recommended. So what we need to do here is we need to have a proper diplomatic engagement. We have to strengthen the diplomatic channels. Okay, so we should make sure that there is proper people to people, ties, and we are essentially solidifying India's presence as well. And sustained efforts needs to be there. Continuous focus on implementing G20 commitments. So whatever commitments that we have, we need to make sure that we are trying to emphasize on those commitments and enhance the regional trade and cooperation will be a key to maintaining monument in India's diplomatic outreach. So these are certain way forward that we have over here. The next important article that we're going to discuss is that at International Court of Justice, India blames the developed nations for climate crisis. See, I already have told you, and we all know about climate change, right? In yesterday's class also, we have discussed about climate change and crisis and everything, right? So climate change is something that we all need to focus upon. Because of rise in temperature, there is global warming, and that is basically, addressing our climate changes and uh, the amount of greenhouse gas that we have in the environment right now. A lot of people believe that developed countries, because of the industrial revolution and other things, they are the reason why we have climate change. So that is the reason India is also trying to blame, or India is blaming developed countries for the climate crisis that we have. India's participation in the International Court of Justice hearing on climate crisis underscores countries' critical stance on role of developed nations. So here you need to understand that India is directly blaming all the developed countries for contributing to and addressing climate change. So it says that India is saying that all the developed countries are the people who are, responsible for climate change. Now let us understand India's position at International Court of Justice. Developed country role in crisis. So what are the different roles that the developed country has done? Historical responsibilities. India criticized developed nations for their significant historical contribution to climate crisis. As I already told you that industrial revolution did not start in India, right? And from there onwards, what has happened here is because of that, a lot of carbon has been extensively, coming into the environment. And because of that, only what has happened here is that having exploited global carbon budget extensively over a period of time means these developed countries are, the main reasons why we have these greenhouse gases that are present in the environment. All the industrial revolution, all the use of vehicles, etc., they are the reason. Unmet climate finance promises. All the developed countries have not met or fulfilled their climate financing commitments. Okay, particularly the 100 billion annual pledge made by, Copenhagen Conference of Parties in 2009. So here, this is again, we have to discuss this separately because this is a separate topic of Conference of Parties when it comes to UNFCCC. Right? So we will discuss about that in a separate topic. Maybe we'll start something like knowledge series or something wherein we can add all these things. So Conference of Parties when it comes to United Nations, UNFCCC, see framework on climatic condition, right? So combat climate condition. Here we have different Conference of Parties. We have also discussed about the Baku, Conference of Party. Similarly, we have another Conference of Party in 2009, and whatever promises that they made, those promises were not completed or not fulfilled. This is the reason why India is, trying to blame them. Impact on developing nations. Despite contributing minimally to the global emission, developing countries like India are, affected adversely because of climate change. See, we are not a part of this particular, or what you can say, we have contributed less to the climate change because we are a developing country and we have no much, how much developed countries have contributed, that much is not the amount that we have, emitted carbon in our environment. Then why are we suffering? Because of the climate change, it's not just other countries, even the people who have not been a part of it are still suffering. So similarly, India is also trying to say the same thing. Even because of minimal global emission, developed countries like India are still, having adverse impact of climate change. So that is the reason it is trying to blame in the International Court of Justice. Now, unequal responsibility of climate degradation. See, you need to understand that there should be equal distribution of responsibility. India urges for equal distribution of responsibility, considering historical emissions and benefit developed nations from fossil fuel usage. So what it is trying to tell is that there should be equitable distribution of responsibilities. Why? There is a distribution of resources different for different people. So it should be equitable distribution of responsibility. Encourage development. India point out on irony that developed nations have benefited from the fossil fuels. Now discourage developing countries to use their own energy resources for growth. So see, what is happening here is now all the developed countries are saying that we developing countries should reduce the use of fossil fuels. When they wanted to use, they have already used it. But now when it is our turn to use, they are like, you don't use it. I mean, you do all the bad things and now you blame us. This is something like that, and that is the reason why India is trying to oppose this. Climate finance commitments are unfulfilled, as we have already discussed that. Criticism to new finance packages also. The new climate finance packages that were there in COP29 was deemed inadequately by India. Means whatever finances that India was getting, that is not fulfilling all the needs. It is inadequate, failing to address the immediate needs of developing nations in the global south. So I've given you the definition of global south here so that you understand. Global south is a term used to describe the group of countries that are less developed and are located in the southern hemisphere. Okay, the term is used to categorize countries based on their socio-political and economical characteristics. The global south include countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Oceania. So these are the countries that come in global south. Okay. So what India is trying to tell us is that whatever finance, that package that you've given in COP29 that happened here recently, that is very, very less for India. Okay. We will not be able to, address all the immediate needs of developing nations. So India is not just talking about India, it is also talking about all the developing nations that are there in global south. We have discussed what is the meaning of global south here, right? Apart from this, commitments to climate change target with caution. So Paris Agreement, India reaffirms its commitments to Paris Agreement, but highlight that the challenges of balancing climate actions with socio-economic realities means it is not able to, maybe it is not able to fulfill all the commitments with the agreement, but it is trying to tell that we are trying to balance between the climate actions and socio-economic realities. So everything needs to be considered. No, we just can't only focus on climate change. Apart from climate change, we also need to do social welfare. We also need to do economical development. So we also have to consider socio-economic realities. Along with that, I need to also balance my climate action. So socio-economic considerations. India emphasizes the need of considering the socio-economic context of the country with 1/6 of global population while pursuing sustainable development. So it is telling us that with 1/6 of the global population that is there in India, we need to also focus on what? Socio-economic consideration. Just can't focus on, climate change. So that is why we are pursuing sustainable development goals, right? Apart from this overview, now let us understand what is this International Court of Justice, right? I hope all of you are clear with why India is raising a voice for all the developing countries and against the developed countries, because developed countries are now asking us not to use fossil fuels. When they wanted to use, they use. And amount of carbon dioxide that is now present in the environment is not due to developing countries, it is due to developed countries, right? So, and still they are now asking us to, fulfill the needs, and they themselves are not fulfilling the needs that was there in the conference of parties of 2009, right? So this is the thing that India is highlighting in International Court of Justice. Now we have to understand what is this International Court of Justice and how it is playing an important role. So International Court of Justice is the principal judicial organ of United Nations. Okay, the task is settling legal disputes between the states by providing advisory opinion on legal questions referred by authorized UN organs. Okay, so all the members who are there in the United Nations organizations, it could be whatever different organizations that we have. It could be UNCBD, or it could be UNFCCC, or it could be UNCCD. All these are organs. Whatever issues that are there between the states or between different countries, for all those things, this International Court of Justice is going to give legal settlement. Okay, legal dispute will be settled, and they will also play as an advisory opinion. Now, the location here is mentioned. It is in Netherlands. It is referred to as World Court. And the composition is 15 judges are elected to 9 years term by UN General Assembly and Security Council. The types of cases that it handles are two types of cases. Contentious cases between the states and advisory proceedings on legal questions. So if there is a fight between two states, then that is also heard. And if there is some kind of question that you have, and if that is asked, then the legal advice is also given. These are the two different types of cases that this particular World Court or International Court of Justice is handling. The nature of judgment. While the International Court of Justice judgments are binding, means you have to adhere to it. It lacks enforcement mechanism to ensure compliance. Anyways, anybody is following it or not following, we do not have any enforcement mechanism. If not, somebody is not following, then what is the punishment is not very clear. Okay. The languages that we have are English, French are used in the proceedings, documentation, and communication. Apart from this, let us see the question for today. Okay. So this is all about what we have discussed in today's topic. One is related to climate change and one is related to the finance commission and another is related to international relation. And today's international relation topic that we have discussed about Modi ji's visit to 3 different countries. Somewhere we have discussed about a part of it in yesterday's lecture as well. And in the upcoming lectures, if there are any more news that are related to the same, then I will not discuss that, and maybe we can take up some other topics so that other variety of topics are being covered, right? Let us see the question for today. What is one of the major challenges of the 16th Finance Commission faced in achieving equitable resource distribution among the Indian states? Okay, managing the economic impact for rapid urbanization and rural, addressing the central government's increased resilience on cess and surcharge, reducing the financial autonomy to progressive states like Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, ensuring state will follow uniform economic growth policies. So try to address this question, try to answer this question. If you have any suggestions, if you have any opinions, try to put it in the comment box. Also try to put the answers of the same in the comment box, and please show your participation so that we can come up with many more initiatives. If there is a lot of engagement, if there is a lot of interaction from the students, we can come up with something like animated videos for different topics and subjects as well. Okay, we can enhance more into our content if there is kind of engagement. So thank you everyone for your patience and watching this particular lecture. Try to put in your comments below.